Renta No! Comida Sí! Renta No! Comida Sí! Renta No!
This is a march by the LA Tenants Union. Basically, they think nobody should be paying rent at all, and that they shouldn't have to owe that rent either once the crisis is over, just canceled completely.
May 1st is coming, and tenants all over the country are refusing to pay the rent. With tens of millions out of work, they say the current situation is unsustainable.
Preferimos usar lo de la renta para comida, porque está en mi situación. Tengo a mi esposo enfermo, tengo 3 hijos y no tengo.
Si después de 2 o 3 meses te tocara volver a pagar 2 o 3 meses de renta que no has pagado, ¿eso es algo que tú podrías hacer? ¿Serías capaz de hacer eso?
No creo.
Debemos hablar, debemos salir, debemos denunciar.
LA put a pause on most evictions, and it's giving people a year to pay back rent after the crisis. But activists say that's not enough, and there could still be a flood of evictions once lockdowns are lifted.
We haven't paid the rent on the month of April, and I'm planning not to pay the next month, which is May.
And why is that?
Because I have to choose between paying rent or buying food for my family. I'm not working right now, and my wife is not working. We need cancellation of rent.
Cancellation of rent, so
rent.
No payment of rent whatsoever.
No payment of rent at all. The way I look at it, I'm a working class guy. We have no help. Even with the stimulus the president have gave, that's not enough. The same way they bail out banks, they should have bailed out working families like mine.
The drop-off in rent payments for April was smaller than many expected. But a lot of tenants made late or partial payments, and as people resort to credit cards and savings for their rent, analysts expect a much bigger drop-off in May. The goal of these rent strikes is to make that decline as big as possible, to put pressure on politicians. Some politicians are already on board. Representative Ilhan Omar introduced a bill to forgive both rent and mortgage payments. And some states have equivalent bills, including one in New York, co-sponsored by State Senator Julia Salazar.
We would not just be foolishly only taking care of tenants, but also we would in turn, prevent this domino effect where homeowners would be on the hook for their mortgage without receiving the rent that they need.
And if you're taking care of the tenants and you're also making efforts to take care of the homeowners and the landlords, where does the buck stop, right? I mean, the buck has to stop somewhere. Someone has to absorb this loss.
I believe it should be the banks primarily. Either they absorb the loss and we will be able to determine whether that's actually possible, or if they're not able to absorb the loss, then there's like this additional bailout through public funds.
Landlords are also looking to the federal government for answers. They just think the answer should be different. What do you make of certain proposals on the state level in New York? Jay Martin runs a group that represents landlords in New York City.
The mortgage payments, that is some relief, certainly, but actually the largest bill a property owner has, a small building owner specifically has, is the property taxes. So simply waiving the mortgage payment is only a partial fix to a much bigger problem. So we believe the federal government has to step in and provide direct vouchers and subsidies to renters to allow them to continue to pay their bills. That's really the only way that you can prevent a cascading economic effect up the quote-unquote housing food chain. Simply canceling the rent only shifts one huge part of the financial burden up the economic chain.
Nevertheless, canceling the rent seems to be a popular idea. According to the left-leaning Data for Progress, 74% of people in California, including 65% of Republicans, support it. But for now, it's not happening. Rent forgiveness bills haven't gotten enough support from legislators to move forward, and even the most liberal cities are not seriously considering more drastic action. A big enough rent strike could change that. And striking tenants say there isn't much of an alternative.
We live in the richest country in the world. There's no way we cannot figure it out.
The government is not exactly super functional right now, right? So if the government doesn't find a way to solve this problem, then what?
People, working class people like me, we're gonna get screwed.